Hi, everybody. I hope you can all hear me clearly. So the webinar has officially started. I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is JT Muga, previously in broadcast media and then the corporate sector with venture capital and angel investment. I've recently moved to a different role, which is with Forge. And we are basically trying to build an ecosystem for developers by developers. I'm excited at the opportunity that we have here today to share and let people know exactly what it means to unlock financial data. So the background of this presentation would be Quikk and Nairobi Stock Exchange have partnered, which I'm sure we're going to be able to look at exactly what that partnership entails and how that is going to be beneficial for the developer ecosystem around Africa, and what exactly Quikk will be powering with regards to that partnership and what NSE is also bringing to the table. Mine here today as Forge, speaking behind Forge, is to let people know that we are trying to, for the first time in Africa, in Kenya, have a platform that is for the tech community and the dev community at large. So I'm going to take you through exactly what Forge does. We're going to have a conversation. You're going to tell me what you think. And then from there, I'm going to pass on to the next party, which would be either Quikk API or NSE. There are some people here today with us. I'd like to thank them for joining us and making this possible. Karaoke Galitu, who's the founder of Quikk API, is here with us today. Anthony and Shem from NSE are also here with us today. And we're going to be hearing from them. We're going to share and have a conversation. So I'll move on to the first slide just to explain exactly what Forge Marketplace is. It's a bit chilly in Nairobi today. So I hope you guys are covered. I decided not to wear my coat, but yeah, let's go. So as I said, Forge Marketplace is built for developers by developers. Now the question would be, what does that encompass? Go to the next slide. So a movement for developers. Forge now serves as a hub for collaboration, creativity, and learning designed specifically for the needs of developers, startups, and partners. Our ecosystem components include the Forgecast podcast. By the way, now you can follow us on YouTube. We just had an interesting conversation with Karaoke, where he shared exactly how his journey, where he's come from. And we're going to be doing that for the tech community, for the founders, the devs. We want to give you a platform. So yeah, we have a podcast, of course, Inside the Forge, which is a webinar series, which has started today effectively. Our weekly developer newsletters, all aimed at empowering Africa's tech community. The Resource Hub offers comprehensive documentation, use cases, code examples, ensuring support for every developer journey. Introducing the Forge Events platform, your gateway to engaging in tech gatherings. Now, we recently launched, not yet fully functional, but operational as we speak. There are some events that have been listed on the platform. So Forge's new events platform empowers developers and organizers to market their events like hackathons, meetups, and webinars, creating a vibrant community while ensuring easy ticket management for a verified audience. Join us to elevate your event. So basically, you come here, you can market your event amongst different tech events around the country, around Africa that are going on right now. This is a revolution. It's a revolutionary product in terms of tech events. I've not seen one yet, and that's why I'm very excited with regards to what Forge is doing on that front. There's a tech aspect with regards to Forge Marketplace. We're not just here to talk and tell stories. We are empowering Africa's next tech innovators. So developers are Africa's next generation of problem solvers. And Forge provides them with secure API access, visibility through the community, and a robust platform to build and showcase real-world solutions. By reducing friction from the initial idea to product release, Forge empowers developers to unleash their creativity and drive innovation across the continent, fostering a thriving tech ecosystem that meets local needs. So there's basically a bunch of APIs that have been onboarded from different products onto Forge that are available for devs within the ecosystem. And very, very many products and tools that are available on the Forge marketplace dashboard. We have currently 75 products from banking to different companies that have been onboarded there. And it gives developers an opportunity to just, by one click, tap into someone's API. So this marketplace in itself is a first of its kind. I'm excited to be driving this on this front in terms of marketing and outreach. And yeah, I'm very excited. I know we are all eager to move on to exactly what the webinar was about. So yeah, I would like to just finish by saying the webinar is about unlocking financial data. Quikk API has partnered with NSE, and they have something to tell us today. I think it's very important. This is powered by Forge. As I told you, we're trying to be the voice for such forums. We're trying to be a pioneer in this industry, create a community for developers, by developers, for the tech community at large, and basically just Forge as it is an ecosystem. So from me at Forge, I'm very happy. I'm very pleased that everyone has joined us today. I would now like us to move on to the main presentation, which I think Anthony or Shem, if you're ready, you can go. Guys, you can find us at Forge Marketplace on LinkedIn. You can follow our Forgecast on YouTube, and of course, check out our website at www.withforge.dev. Asante sana. I hope everyone is keeping warm. I'm very excited for what is about to come. Karaoke, Karibu, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, JT. Am I audible? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to jump in and introduce the NEC team. So we've been having discussions for a while now, and I think the thing where it started was at Quikk we're passionate about unlocking access to APIs and to services behind organizations and providers for developers. So a dev wants to build something, and they're asking, so how can I connect to this and how connect to that? And these discussions have been going on for quite a while, and I'm glad to see the progress that we've made in enabling access to the NSC by developers. So I want to introduce Anthony Mwema. Anthony Mwema is the tech lead at the Nairobi Stock Exchange, and he's done a really amazing job at keeping the exchange together. They're all hanging on his shoulders. He makes sure that everything works well, driving the trading and even the data products that they have. And Shem is his colleague who focuses on the business side of the Nairobi Stock Exchange. And yeah, I'm happy to have you guys onto this discussion, and looking forward to see the questions, the discourse, the revelations that we learn about the Nairobi Stock Exchange and how developers can connect. And developers are pretty hungry. I think we've seen products around the world, regarding tech and securities, and it's only time that we have that kind of revolution in Kenya and in Africa. So yeah, Anthony, over to you.
Thank you very much, Kariuki, and good evening if you're in Kenya, and good morning wherever else you might be. So, as you've heard, my name is Anthony Mwema. I lead the tech here at the NSE. This is where we power the market, capital markets. So, Quikk is our partner. I think I don't need to repeat that. We've been in this conversation, I believe, since last year. We've been working on a lot of stuff in the background, which I believe Kariuki will be unpacking later on in the presentation. But for purposes of presentation today, we will be making this presentation together with Shem. Shem is leading the data services team here at the NSE. And he will walk us through the products and essentially what it is that we do here at the NSE, and with regards to data points or data that is available here. And then I'll come in later just to unpack the opportunities for either tech business leaders or even developers. And then that will be the end of our presentation. And then we'll take questions if there's a chance for questions. So thank you very much. I'll hand it over to Shem to make his presentation. Shem, welcome.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you, Kariuki. I've just noticed that you are two Kariukis. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting us here. So maybe just to confirm from Kariuki, am I audible from where you sit?
Okay, not two karaoke's. But yeah, two's better than one. I'm JT Muga. Yeah, I think you're very audible, Shem.
Sure. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So my name is Shem Oko. I'm the manager in charge of data services and operations here at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and we are glad to have this conversation with the community of developers. Just to start us off, the NSE runs 3 markets, which I'm going to just speak to. I think it's also very important to just get to understand the background around NSE and how data comes about. So we have we operate 3 markets, that is the equity, bonds, and the derivatives market. And just to note, we are in an ecosystem similar to what you have from where you sit as developers. And one of the very most important thing for us as NSE is how we, collaborate and partner with our stakeholders. So what you're seeing on your screen is just NSE surrounded by very different and many stakeholders. One of our key stakeholders is the Capital Markets Authority, the CMA, that is our main regulator that basically regulates the capital markets in general. So where, of course, we have the exchange, we have the trading participants, we have fund managers, we have investment banks and all that. So it is the Capital Markets Authority that is charged with this responsibility. And then we have the Central Bank of Kenya. So remember the NSE operating three markets, the equities market or the stock markets, as you'd call it. Then we have the fixed income market, or rather the bonds market, and then the derivatives market. So the CBK comes in from a bonds market perspective. So usually, you've noticed that the government usually issues, when they want to raise money, they issue a bond in the primary market. That is usually the Central Bank of Kenya, who is their agent. But then the particular bonds that have been issued have to be traded in the secondary market. So the NSE have that platform where the secondary bonds, the bonds are traded. That is called the secondary market. So that is how we relate with the Central Bank of Kenya. And then we have another one there called the CDSC, Central Depository and Settlement Corporation. So basically, this institution is charged with settling the stocks. So for example, once you, as say an investor or a developer, you've been able to say buy a security, you expect to receive that security in your account, or you expect money to move. So who facilitates that? The Central Depository and Settlement Corporation. And then we have trading participants. So in our market, for you to be able to trade, then somebody must be able to facilitate that or assist you do that. Not like really directly, like in the past where I used to send an email or a call and then they act on the instruction. Nowadays it's a bit digital, but they will still facilitate that particular order. So those are the trading participants. And in there, of course, we have the investment banks. So assuming today Quikk wants to raise money in the capital market and they want to say list the company, then we have an institution called the investment banks who will really run with that transaction, or rather facilitate that kind of transaction. And then we have listed companies. So all the companies that have raised money either directly or indirectly through our market are all called listed companies, or issuers as it is. So currently in our market we have around 64 listed companies, and all these companies, their shares are trading on a day-to-day basis. Of course, not all of them together. Some will probably not be as liquid as the others, but those are the ones which are ideally listed. And then down there you can see we have now the other players, of course, the investors, who I think are some of the key partners that we also have around there, and the rest. So the most important thing here to note is that we are in an ecosystem, and all these players, one way or the other, they contribute to the market. They benefit and also contribute to the NSE market data. And I think that is very important for you to just note. Now, we operate three markets, like I mentioned. So the equities market, or rather called also the shares market, we have, like I mentioned, 64 securities listed. I know you are aware of securities like Safaricom, the banking stocks like KCB. If you go to insurance like Britam, on the agricultural sides, we have Kakuzi, manufacturing, EABL, and the likes. And energy, I think Kenya Power is there. So we have all those shares listed in that market. What that means is that there is a lot of data that comes from those trades. On a day-to-day basis, there is data which speaks to either the price, it speaks to the volumes that have been traded, it speaks to the turnover or the values that have been traded. So that data is very critical for the investing community, both locally and globally. In the market, you will not be able to make an investment decision if you don't have data that is backing that. And that is what most investors are ideally looking for. So it is very important to then store this data and distribute it out there in a manner and form. We have the bonds market. Again, currently we have around 68 listed bonds in the market, and bonds takes two categories. So there is bond which have been issued by the government, and there's the bonds which have been issued by the corporate. So they're called corporate bonds. And then the ones issued by the government are called government bonds. So one thing to note about bonds, I think it's also just good to demystify what these shares are. So maybe just a simple example. If today you want to own a part of Safaricom, for example, then what it means is that you just have to go and buy a share or shares of Safaricom. In the market, for you to enter, you need at least 100 shares. So what that means then is that you are going to have at least bought a portion of Safaricom, at least 100. So you can buy 1 million, but the entry point is 100. So if Safaricom is trading at, say, 24 right now, then you would need something like 2,400 shillings to enter into the market and become a shareholder. So that is basically shares. And then you can always trade depending on where the price is going up or down. Similar to bonds, you can always buy a bond, and what a bond means is that the government is looking for money, and then they come to the public to help them, raise that money. So they will borrow you as a local investor the money. Say you would give the government 1 million, expecting that the government for every year they'll pay you an interest. And then on the last period when the bond is maturing, they pay you your initial amount that you had lent them plus the last interest. So that's a bond. Derivatives is also another instrument. So currently in our market, we have 52 contracts. A derivative is basically a contract. Think about it as, and I'm trying to explain this so that when you go to data, you can now easily connect the data points that are coming from these markets. So for the derivatives, basically, it is a contract. So you agree to enter into a transaction. You enter into a transaction right now. Agree, set up a price, but settlement then would be done into the future. So we currently there's rain, and we are hoping that the farmers are now enjoying. So a farmer and somebody wants to buy maize would come into a contract, and they say the farmer tells the person who wants to buy that in 4 months' time, I want us to enter into a contract. I'll deliver for you 100 bags. And then the person who is buying tells the customer, the farmer, that I will buy them at 1,000 shillings. They are 100 bags at 1,000 shillings, just as an example. Yeah, thank you. I'll get to that question. So when it gets to the 4 months, you had agreed to, the farmer had agreed to deliver 1,000 bags, and the payment was supposed to be, say 1 million for these particular bags. So in 4 months, every person has an obligation to settle. Whether the farmer has actually harvest or not, they still have to deliver their 1,000 bags. Whether there is too much harvest and the price has gone down, the person who is supposed to buy is supposed to deliver the same amount of money that they agreed. So that is the concept of derivatives. Now bring it now to the stock market. That is how it is. So it's just important to know some of these products that NSE actually runs. And then we have so many other products like ETFs and REITs, which again sits on in terms of the shares as it is. Now, with all these markets, data comes. So if you look at the whatever I'm displaying on the screen, these are some of the data types that the NSE distributes out there. And all these data points or the data types come from all these markets one way or the other. Allow me to speak to each of them, and then I've also given some. I'll also be displaying the snips of each of these data points, so that then you can see, from a developer perspective, what would it take to, for example, create probably APIs out of these, and these APIs can be, redistributed, and that is the conversion that we are currently having with our partner Quikk, so that then we are able to solve these. And what it means is that then data will be accessible to everybody, locally and globally, and it will be available through an API, which means that these particular institutions or investors are able to probably create products out of it. They're able to make sense out of this data at very minimal fees and all that. So the first data point that we have here is the real-time market data. So all these markets run from ideally from 9:30 to 3 in the evening. So we've just closed the market around 2 hours ago. So what it means is that there's data that has been flowing in from morning up to 3. That data, there are investors or institutions who need it as real time as it is. So what it means is that the NSE has to then feed these particular clients with this data. And I'll be able to demonstrate and just show you what that data looks like. And one of the things that is probably important to note is that when you pick the whole data set, the real-time data, you are basically picking the entire market. The question that then should come out there is then how can you create probably APIs out of that entire market so that then you have so many distribution points for this particular data, which can then go out there to very many players or investors, both locally and globally. So we have the real-time feed. So this is real time. So if the price of Safaricom changes to 11 shillings, for example, then every person who has this real-time feed receives that information instant. That is the real-time feed, and it keeps on changing like that. If the volume transacted moves to say 1 million, that is reflected across all the players or all the institutions that have this data point. In our market, we have data vendors who are feeding into this data directly, and then they're able to distribute the likes of Bloomberg, Refinitiv, and the rest. Those are global data vendors who are receiving this data locally. I think we have one data vendor who is again receiving this live feed as it is. Then we have delayed data. So delayed data is basically the real-time data, but has been delayed by 15 minutes. So we've also had, especially from a global perspective, we have institutions who would like to receive this delayed data. So they don't want the feed also to probably help their clients make informed decisions. They would want the data to be delayed for 15 minutes so that it is not churning, or rather moving in as changing as quickly as possible. So we also have players who have, or rather subscribers who have taken up the delayed data, and most of the time this data is delayed through our vendors. So if somebody wants a delayed data, they would get a license, or that they would seek a license from the NSE, and then they would feed it from one of the vendors, because also there's a technology that is involved when you're delaying this kind of data. Derived data is very common, and I think we've seen most probably developers and other investors looking for this derived data. And this is what it means by a derived data from an NSE perspective. You have developed an app, say an investment app. And for this investment app to come to life, it has to be powered by data. Now, you come to NSE, ask for, say, the real-time feed or real-time data, and then or maybe delayed data, depending on your clientele and all that. When NSE connects you to that feed, then your app is powered, and then you are able now to probably sell that data to your clients and things like that. So that is called the derived data. You are using the NSE data to probably derive another product out of it, or develop another, or come up with another product out of it. Without probably this data, probably that product cannot be, probably make sense, out of it. So this is called the derived data. And this derived data can come in many forms. It can either use the real-time feed or the delayed data feed. And then we now have the end of day data. So like today is Friday. The first data points that we usually distribute to the market is end of day data, showing how the market has performed. And these ones come in form of Excel files. These Excel files are distributed to our clients who are here locally in the capital market investment community, and also globally. So these files have very clear timelines, the times in which they're supposed to be distributed. The end of day files should go out by at least 4. The market closes at 3. So by 4, they should all be out. Then these institutions are able to use that data to make their decisions, looking at the next trading day. Then end of week data is now, and now we are having this conversation on Friday, which is the end of the week. So that is why now we compile the end of the week report. So we have also clans, so many clans who are only interested in the end of the week files or data. So all that data again come from from an Excel perspective. But then the most interesting thing is that we've also seen APIs created out of these Excels and distributed, because there are people who would want to receive it in Excels because they still don't have the systems. But then there are those who would want the APIs. They have the systems, they wouldn't want to receive the Excels, they just want an API that would connect them to this data. So that we also have in place. And the last one is historical data. So we have a very robust database of historical data going back into 2008 and back. That is data that is in the system. This data, we receive a lot of requests, especially from the one is the learning institutions, and also the new investors who just want to get this data and use it for the analysis. This data, there's a lot that can come out of it. For example, APIs can be created which just tracks particular prices alone, tracks volume. For example, a student will come to you and ask, I need data for 20 years on the price of, say, Safaricom, or on the price of something else. It should be very easy to extract that information from this database. And this is also what we have. So all this data are related to each of these markets. So the equity market has all these, the bonds market has all these, the derivatives market has all these. So you can see the volumes that we are talking about here. And it's just good to appreciate that while I want to distribute this information or get APIs out of these NSE data points, then I need to ideally get the information right, so that I'm even distributing the right information to the right market. So there is a question that came in from one of the participants, that what is the relationship between NSE and the government? NSE is a private company. I think the government had probably 2%, and I think last year I think they wanted to sell that particular portion. So majorly, NSE is a private institution with the board composed of basically independent and private directors as it is. In the past, the first time I got to NSE, like almost 7-8 years ago, when I got in, I thought I was also getting into or coming into a government institution, until I realized that it is a private institution as such. So I hope I've clarified that. Let me now move to the example. So at least we've seen what those are. So it's just important to see what a real-time feed would look like. So this is basically what I did, is I snipped the market, the live market as it is. So you'd see this is basically data points that we are getting from the real market, and you can see the symbols there, books, the bids, the sizes, the asks. Bids are basically orders to buy. Asks are orders to sell. The sizes, last traded price, all these are data points, and something can come out of them. The closing price usually come at the end of the trade. The volume weighted average price is there. You can see the VWAP, volume weighted average price, the total volume traded so far, turnover, and all that. These are all data points which are very important for investors out there. So the question is then, how many APIs can come out of this kind of data? Delayed data, this is also now delayed. So this is just one of our clients so this data that is streaming here, like a ticker, that data is not real time, it is delayed. So they receive our feed and then they are able to delay it out there. So somebody who looks at this data and checks, say, the one on the real market, there's a difference. You'd find this one has been delayed by 15 minutes. And then historical data, this is available on our website. So what I did is I snipped it, and there are those price points. But what is important here is you can see all this historical data. If today a client wants to receive this data, they are able to go there, buy it. But sometimes you'd find the client is able to buy an entire, because this is a daily bonds price list, which is in Excel. But what if the client is only interested in the yield for the bonds? They don't want the entire thing. How can that then be created? Those, I think, where APIs and all that comes in. The daily equity price list, I'll show you what that looks. It's an entire price list. But what if somebody is just interested in a particular data point within that price list? That is also the thing. And same to weekly. Then we have the implied yields and the yield curve and all that. So this is basically historical data, and there's a very huge database for that. The equity, so these are the end of day data. So for the end of day data, one thing to note is that this is how it looks. It is very standard, because most companies that have taken it up have already customized it. This is the standard format that is sent. So their systems and all that receives it this way. So you can see there are several data points in there. So somebody would be willing to buy the entire price list, but what if there is that person who is only interested in the volume, in the closing price, this volume weighted average price? What if there's somebody who is just interested in the highest trades for that day, or the lowest, or just the volume alone? So I think those are points in which probably APIs can also be created, or even the entire document. And some of a bit of that has also been done. End of day bonds. So you can see this is what it looks like. So there's a lot that also is here that is again not readily available on the real-time feed. So you can see all that data point, and it moves. It's a bit long. It stretches on the right. So these are just some of the reports that go out. Derivatives. All these ones are contracts. So you can see some of them indicated there, including the data points and all that. So one thing to note is that the NSE is guided by the market data policy. So again, within our website, our data policy is very clear on the usage, distributions, and things like that. So it is very, again, important just to appreciate that while we distribute this data both within and outside, the most important thing that we are guided with is our market data policy. So even as you probably explore to look into all this, then it is just very important to appreciate that there is also a market data policy that really governs. It's like a rule book that really governs how that data would be used, distributed, and things like that. As I finish, to invite Anthony to take the second last slide, and then the questions. Like I mentioned, our clans cuts across. So we have local individual clans, we have local institutional clans, we have international individual, international institutional clans. And when I say institutional, I mean the likes of, say, a corporate or an institution, like something like that. Then we have the local and global data vendors. So locally we have one. Internationally we have around 6 or 7 vendors. So they take our feeds live market, and then they're able to distribute it in their manner and form. So we also have learning institutions targeting all universities and colleges. We see students coming here. I can give an example. Like the last week, there's a student who came and reached out, indicating that he has developed an app, an investment app, and he was looking for data. And clearly he was looking for one particular data. He was just looking for the closing prices alone. You get, so that if APIs have been created from the live market or rather even the end of day market and all that are very targeted to specific data points, then again you see that really helps some of these young investors who are very keen to make an impact in the capital market, and then generally the investing community. So I think that is very important. So allow me to push it back to Anthony to talk about the opportunities that are available here from a developer's perspective, and then we will now take all the questions. Anthony?
Thank you very much, Shem, for that presentation. Very well discussed, or rather presented. So allow me to just take, I know we behind in terms of time, but allow me to just take around 3 minutes to speak around the opportunities. So before I come to the opportunities, let me just speak about 3 things that the NSE is doing. Number one, the NSE from a strategic perspective, we have a strategy that is running between 2025 and 2029. And part of this strategy ideally is to do 3 things. Revitalize our markets. What does this mean? Generally, we have a very ambitious plan to onboard 9 million investors, and these are local retail investors. So in line with this, then it means that we're looking to grow our retail base from the current maybe 100,000 to 9 million. And how do we get there? So I think part of the journey to get there is essentially to create products and use technology to create products that really are aligned to us getting those 9 million investors. We believe we can get more, but our target is 9 million for the next 5 years. The other one is more inward looking, which is more of optimizing organizational effectiveness, which is just internally looking at how we can deliver either products or even within ourselves, how do we reach out to either investors, stakeholders, partners, and etc. And thirdly, I think we want to power this through technology, and that's why we're having these conversations with yourselves here, because we know we cannot really do it alone. So we want to leverage on technology to be able to deliver on our strategy. So Shem has shared the data points that we have, and this is just to link between what NSE and Quikk is doing. So for us as an industry, which is the capital market industry, and specifically now when it comes to trading, that this data point is very important. One, for the stakeholders that really interact with us, we have got the exchange itself, we've got the brokerage fraternity, we have the regulator, with actually 2 regulators, CBK and CMA, and the investing public. So essentially, we feel this is where the opportunities lie for the developers for a community like yourselves. So when it comes to the exchange, of course, the exchange will provide the technology, which is what we have. This is where the trading is happening. But then in terms of data, we will need data distributors out there for reasons that ideally you want to present these opportunities in the market to the investors out there. What are some of the things that you can take advantage of as developers or even business owners? So you can create, for example, data products or services, which are analytics products or platforms. We are, as an exchange, we're also looking at exploring other things beyond just what we provide, whether it's tokenization, etc. And I think you'll be hearing a lot from us around that. Now, when it comes to the brokerage fraternity, there are many opportunities there. All this, we currently have over 20 brokers, and all are in need or are using technology to power the investment product. So there's an opportunity for the local community, I would say, to take up that challenge and perhaps maybe create products for or other solutions for these trading participants, whether it's asset management solutions, whether it is a brokerage, and even the trading platforms that the brokerage use to connect to the exchange. Client onboarding, whether it's KYC platforms, because we're looking at, for example, onboarding all these 9 million investors, then KYC becomes also another component that these are solutions that you could provide for the different stakeholders in the market, including the NSE itself. There is also an opportunity for platforms that support, for example, high frequency trading and algo, which is where we believe these 9 million investors really, they will not be issuing the instructions to brokers, but ideally they would need access to the market directly in terms of viewing the data that is available, either it's analytical data or some intelligence or whatever, other information to make just informed decisions and trade or invest directly. The other thing is on the robo-advisory, which these are also platforms that essentially give you, perhaps based on what is happening in the market, maybe give you advice on whether it's a good time to invest or not. So these are platforms that you can use the data that we distribute as NSE to create products that are really geared towards this kind of investors. And then also part of all this, once you trade, you expect money, you need to deposit money. So integrating that with payment solutions also becomes now, or makes it easier now for whoever is, for example, local investors to come and exit the market and get their money through the various payment platforms that we have. So when you integrate all that, then it becomes, you can see the opportunity there. For regulators, the opportunities around creating even platforms for compliance, and not just for regulators, all these partners who are actually connecting to the NSE for purposes of trading, they have obligations with the regulators. They need to file reports, annual, monthly, etc. And that process itself can be automated for purposes of just supporting the operations. Besides that, I think there are products that you could also create, which are maybe research as part of this data. You could use this data to generate or to create even a research hub where you can provide maybe advice or also signals around the market or generally about the country, because really the stock market is a barometer of the economy. So you could create products around research. You could also think about now the tech enabled. What Quikk is doing, for example, here is really abstracting local or developers from the complex technologies or APIs that the NSE is doing. So Shem, for example, said, for you to access the NSE data, then you will just get real-time data with almost everything. But what we're trying to do here with Quikk is to be able to create distinct products for that suit different players, that really just creates products that are fit for our Kenyan market. So for example, if you just want to research on perhaps maybe banking sector, and you want information related to banking, then you can create your own products. You can get the real-time feed. You could also incorporate that with what we call corporate actions. You could also now enrich that with financial data, like their financial results, etc., and create products that really you can feed or for others. So that's really where the opportunity we see in terms of monetizing, how you can monetize or create products out of the NSE data. So I think because of time, I'll just leave it there. I believe we will have opportunities to engage further, but I'm happy to also take questions. I could also respond to them on chat as the other presenter makes the presentation. So we hand it over back to you. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Hey, you people are really bubbling with a lot of knowledge. We're really blessed to have you guys in the securities exchange market and that space. Well, I have a few things that maybe I wanted to to ask. Just as I was doing my research, the leading exchange or securities exchange in East Africa and Central Africa as well turns out to be NSE. It seems you have about 65 plus listed companies, over 65 companies that participate in your exchange, a market cap of 2+ trillion, innovation and transparency, the first, I guess, African exchange to demutualize and self-list. Now that you're partnering with Quikk, how exactly, and I saw a question from Glory, how exactly, just by the numbers I've just said here, first of all, do you think this will increase the number of companies that are currently listed by incorporating an AI in terms of, an API in terms of data? And secondly, how can the developer actually drive their agenda and make some money? I'm seeing, just reading that from Edward, who I believe is one of the, is a lead developer at Quikk. So yeah, how does that translate from what I just said?
All right, very good questions. I think I will start, then Shem will also add. So in terms of whether the developer community would, or rather our engagement with Quikk would increase the number of listings, one of the things that really drives these listings or issuances is essentially the liquidity of the market. So for example, if you want an issuer who wants to come and raise capital, I think the first assurance they need to get is that if they say, for example, they want to raise 10 billion, can they get the 10 billion from the market? So the first thing is for us to bring in our the local community as well as foreigners, as institutions, etc. So it's essentially the depth of the market. So this partnership, yes, it leads to that, because if, say, for example, one of the things that we know the local investment community doesn't have is information. So if we create products, whether they are AI powered analytical products, then it means we'll onboard more investors into the market. And that in itself would guarantee that if an issuer is looking for capital, then they will be able to get that capital probably in 2-3 days, and they close the IPO because the capital is available and the markets are deep. Your second question was, how can a developer like me help NSE drive its agenda to make money in the process? Yes, I think I presented that in the last slide about the opportunities that are available for developers. You could ride directly on the data products that we have, or perhaps, and this is something that is in the works and you'll be hearing it in the public, is we are establishing an innovation hub where we will also engage developers on areas where they can engage with the NSE and create opportunities for themselves. So this is something that we'll be announcing soon. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Anthony. And Shem, I'm seeing there's a few questions that are still on the chat. Don't know if we've answered all of them.
Yeah, maybe I can just
One
add on
from
to what
Charles, Maureen. Okay.
are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So maybe just to add on to what my colleague Anthony has mentioned, within our strategic plan 2025-2029, one of the things that is coming out clearly is that we are very keen to activate the retail investors, and the point is we are trying to really bring in 9 million active retail investors. And one of the things that probably in the past we've not clearly been getting is how can the market how can the Kenyan market make sense to the investors? So one of the things, of course, is through proper analytics. So before somebody makes a decision, I think most of the investors, retail investors, rely on either research that has been done by the investment banks, or trading participants and the likes of that, which continues. But then it's also very important for for these particular individual investors, or even in institutions, to have one accurate and clear data points around all these investment products. And the only way that can be achieved, especially in a world where now we've moved so fast to AI and all these, is how can they receive this information firsthand? The moment it gets out of NSE, how can they really get it and then use it to make some of these quick decisions, and of course grow in the market? So beyond activating this bold number, the most important thing also to note is that we are very keen to again grow our listed companies and even the funds, and we've seen potentials coming into the market. I think this year we are looking to probably list a company, and that is expected to continue even in the coming years as we move through our strategic period. I think that will not be possible if, one, we don't have proper analytics in the market, and for us to achieve that, then we need clear data points, which have then been customized through some of these initiatives like AI, APIs and all that. So we believe, I think, once we really properly integrate, then that should be able to push more information to the investing community locally and globally, and then we see then opportunities for other companies now to gain more interest and momentum to come into the market. Because again, when there's more trade and there's more activities, then you see the share prices going up. Just like I think last week you noticed, the last 2 weeks you noticed Safaricom shares been going up, and there's been a good rally around that. You can imagine if that information is distributed across the entire country, and investors know that the price is actually going up, and they are seeing that this kind of data points, they're able to use that then to buy more into the company. The more the share goes up, the more value the company gets, and of course then that is what most companies would expect. So I think that is related to the question that you asked. There's one question that I've seen in the chat, which speaks to which industries are most ready and willing to adopt innovation around the NSE. So all the industries that we currently have listed, all the companies that we currently have listed, I think are very keen to really adopt innovation. And, we don't expect probably any company that is expecting, for example, to grow in terms of their investor relations, to really ignore these innovation that is coming in at this point. So we expect, especially the banking counters, to really take this very fast. We have the insurance sector, basically the financial services sector, to really take in this very quick. Safaricom is there, and there's more to be done around that space. And even the manufacturing side, we really expect more to see in that space. Back to you. Thank you. So, okay.
Karaoke, if you're ready, maybe. But guys, if you feel like your question maybe has not been answered properly, please, you can just raise your hand on the chat, and yeah, we can follow from there. Lauren Lubanga had a question. Don't know if she feels satisfied. Charles as well. Yeah, but Karaoke, you can proceed, sir.
Sure, thank you so much. Let me share my screen. 1 second. Oh, 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Maybe as you get yourself ready, I think I can see someone there in the chat has asked a few questions with regards to the cost of accessing this data. Somebody else has also mentioned something about that is it Maureen? Yes. Maureen asked how we can get familiar. So does NSE have a sandbox? Like if we say Safaricom has a sandbox that devs can play with and get the feel around the APIs, how they can be able to kind of create apps and what they can do with their applications based on the APIs they can see. Do you have something like this? And then when it comes to things like regulation, I see someone there has posted about licensing terms, costs, data usage restriction, because innovation and regulation have to go hand in hand. One cannot be reactive or just be jumping at the other. So how are these things being handled? Because this data in itself also has other issues related to it. So where are we on things like regulation, and how is it working hand in hand with the innovations that we are anticipating or looking at? And what about a sandbox to play with that is directly, devs can be able to get data that is mock data from NSE itself to access this huge number of APIs, or rather these data points that are available.
Okay, yeah, sure. So maybe I can take that very fast, especially where I want to take maybe two questions, and then we are going to be responding on the chat as Kariki engages. So I'll speak to two things. One is on the data, especially on the price. So there's a question that the data is expensive. I think in the past, what we've been able to do is just to try and demystify this. So what we are currently doing, and which again is informing this partnership with Quikk, is to try to, for example, right now, I would give you an example on the real-time feed. So currently, from a pricing perspective, the real-time feed in its entirety goes for $1650 on a monthly basis. That is basically you are consuming the entire market. But then if somebody is interested, like the student I mentioned, if that student is just interested in the closing price alone, then it could be very impossible for that student to really afford to pay that particular price. So what then happens is that if we have then all these APIs, then to reduce the cost, then these APIs will then really come in. So probably you'd find for a data point that would go for 1650, it could even go for, say, $30 or $20, because somebody has just taken a particular data set that is important for their application or the work they are doing. So we have tried as much as possible. The prices that we used to sell the NSE data is benchmarked both at the African stage and also globally, and therefore these are the prices that probably if you go to other markets like now, say SA and say Nigeria, you'd find similar pricings. The only difference, like now when we visited South Africa, they have several APIs. So if you take the whole data point for a particular product, it looks expensive because you're taking everything. But then if you narrow it to specific APIs, then you find it's very cheap. And that is what I think we are really keen to progress. And also one thing to note is that when you try to reach out to NSE for any request in terms of data, then the NSE is always keen to engage and support all the investors as it is. I think it's very, the last time probably an investor or a developer or was not accepted because of a pricing issue. I think it's not there. Some of the times when we see the bigger picture beyond, most of the time we see bigger pictures beyond just the revenue that comes with it. If a developer can create say, APIs that can reach out to, millions of investors in the global space, then there is more value than just looking at the price at the current stage. And I think those are some of the conversations we are having with the Quikk in this context. On the law or the regulations around data. So remember, data business is a private business for NSE. So what guides us is our data policy, which is also
Sorry, I think I've just gone off, but I'll try to connect. So what I was saying around the regulations is that we are guided by our data policy, and that data policy is a publicly available document. So basically, it just informs the usage and also probably what is expected of either an investor or institutions when they have possession of the NSE data. We're also very cognizant of the data protection law. Good thing to note is that there is no personal data that is distributed out there, either client related or otherwise. Personal data is not distributed out there. What is distributed out there is just basically data that comes from trading. So I think that again we have been very keen to follow, and that also relates to even our investors or clients that work with us in this regard. So I think those two are very important. If any case, you say you are interested in any of the NSE data products, what usually happens is that the individual, institution, or investor, or even developer would basically just reach out to NSE and engage from what data points probably they're looking out for, and then those conversions can progress. And I think those are some of the things that are Quikk and of course NSE have been trying to champion in this regard. So maybe I'll just stop there for now, push it back to Quikk, but then any question that we have not addressed, we are going to be answering them on the chat as we progress. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shem and Anthony. And I think this is a really good discussion to have. Quikk. So we are your integration partner, and I think integration is really about connecting and getting people talking. So APIs basically, I tried to explain what APIs are to layman's, and we have landed on a simple definition. An API is a person in between, basically connecting information, conversations, and things like that. And so what we have come to do is accelerate the innovation around the industries in financial services, in trade, just seamlessly connecting between service providers and the innovators that want to drive. We all live in a place of opportunity, but sometimes behind every opportunity, there is a barrier. It could be legacy systems. It could be, manual processes that really stop you from building what you want to build, right? And so Quikk is trying to come in there and bridge that gap. And the challenges around this interconnection, it's usually around complex integration requirements. And what complex integration requirements do is it increases the barrier to developers who can actually access. But the thing is, ideas and opportunities are open to anyone, right? But if the barrier is too high, then they cannot take advantage of those opportunities. So we want to really reduce that complexities by making it very simple, but also increase the access to more people to build and the speed at which people build. So you have an idea. I like to use a term. The term is it development at the speed of thought, right? You think it, you start building it, and it's done, right? And so we are passionate about making developers build very quickly. So what we do is ideally three things. We have integration services. So if you have a service provider that you want to connect to, through our portal, you can access the banks that you want, the mobile payments providers that you want, the other financial data services like NSE, and a myriad of other interconnections. You have an idea, we have your connection, right? And then also we want, as we were building this APIs, realize that developers are the VIPs, they're the drivers of innovation and revolution in today's world. In 2025, developers will make the most impact, but they also need to be seen. So we have partnered with Forge to create a marketplace that allows developers to find the things that they want, to find the APIs that they want, to find the products that they want, but also to be found, to showcase what they have done so they can find the market. They can find the connections that they need to take their services and products that they work so tirelessly to build out into the open. And thirdly is an API gateway. So NSE is a company, and as many other companies, they have data, they have value around their products and services. And what we do is we open that gate for people to take advantage of that value and build value on top of it. We offer a really robust system around building that integration, securing the connections with developers. And more than that, we want to be able to be drivers into the market. The partnership includes market development. So we kind of like say we chew card on we chew card for the developers, right? So we get this very difficult or inaccessible connection. We package it, make it easy for developers to understand, make it easy for people to connect the dots between this thing that is very unclear to the opportunity, right? And say this opportunity is actually worth $100,000 for me or for my company. And we enable the provider, which is NSE, Equity Bank, M-Pesa, all these providers, to easily access the developers and the innovation that they need. But also where you have, say, an idea, you may not have the technical capacity to build. We also give technical service provision capacity. So meaning, let's say you want to build like a Robin Hood of Kenya. So how do you do that? We help you connect the dots. We help you figure out what sort of tech you need, architecture, and we get you set up. We set you along your journey to building what you need to build. And so for us, one of the biggest things, and this is one of the things that we're doing, is we want to do joint market initiatives. So things like hackathons, things like this webinar, right? We are churning the ecosystem in making people understand what is out there. Make people understand that there is a big pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that we can take advantage of. And together with the providers, together with NSE and the other providers, we want to be able to get developers busy, get the market churning, right? Because, for example, for NSE, it's a very big ambition, 100,000 subscribers to 9 million, right? And I think JT mentioned the current 100,000 is 2 trillion market capitalization. 9 million would be, I don't know if it's a factor, but over 200 trillion. So that is a 5-year journey that definitely has a lot of opportunity for developers who will be the catalysts for this change to move from 100,000 to 9 million, or from 2 trillion Kenya shillings to 2 trillion US dollars, right? And we are happy to be leading that, and we want to get every developer interested in the NSE and building those markets. And so just because of time, I think I will end it there. But we are really happy to connect with developers. If you have any questions around how to get access to the NSE, I think we would love to engage. We are in the beginning of this journey, and we want to be able to understand what you developers have in mind. We also are open to bridging the gap between the information that you have and the information that is there. And we are willing and able to hold your hand through the journey and to building what you want to build. And so that's really our passion at Quikk. We want to connect people, we want to connect ideas, because the connections really bring out, and when people connect, minds come together, then I think magic can happen around business, around relationships. Yeah, so thank you very much. I don't know if there are any questions for me around this discussion. But as people are thinking about the questions, I can give it over to you, JT, to help us conclude, and then we'll see.
Quick question to Karaoke. As we've had, as the gentleman from NSE has mentioned that there is cost to acquiring this data. Now, if we are going to consume the APIs that Quikk is building, what happens to the cost of acquiring this data? Does it mean that now the cost of acquisition comes down to you, or whatever platforms we build that need to ingest this data, we still pay the NSE?
Yeah, so there is a business model around this, and obviously the NSE has to make its money. And so for us, together with the NSE, we are building out a model that will make it easy for people to consume the data that they want, the APIs that they want, at a cost that they can manage, right? So, I mean, some of the strategies is around aggregation, it could be even like splitting out the APIs into smaller bits of usages that can be used by different developers for different reasons. And so looking at the strategies around it, ideally, we want to drive the market forward. And with that, I remember when Safaricom started per minute billing, Kensel at that time was very skeptical about this thing, how do you do this? Are you going to make money? But that's what really won the day, right? From paying per minute, expensive per minute billing to 1 shilling, 15 shillings per second to 10 shillings per second to 5 shillings per second as a market grew. And so it's a journey that we're going to walk, but ideally we want to churn innovation in partnership with NSE to create those products that you have, like if you want to build something like the NSE, like Anthony said, like Shem said, we are very open to the idea. We don't want to lock anybody out because the value of the opportunity is way more than the cost at the moment. So if you want to approach the NSE, build something around it, consume the data, we would want to build that model even in collaboration with our customers because we know where we're going.
Ale, hope you're satisfied.
Yeah. I'm good.
Good. So thank you so much for the presentation. That was encompassing a lot, very educative, very helpful to the different parties here. Anthony and Shem, thank you so much. I think you have some greetings for us from someone. But yeah, just very impressed by your presentation as well. And lots of insight that I think is going to be beneficial for everyone that has joined the meeting. We have recorded this session. It will be live on our YouTube pretty soon, so you guys can go check out Forgecast on YouTube, and you're going to be able to just rewatch it and share it for those who are unable to join us. But I'm very happy. I think we have a good understanding of exactly what's going on between Quikk and NSE and how that's going to be beneficial to the devs who are specifically the people who I'm trying to really care about through Forge marketplace, and help them and give them the tools that they require. And I think it's opportunities like these, it's avenues like these that when we get to speak, when we get to talk and share, that we really build going forward. Until then, guys, I think is crypto part of the opportunity? Can it be used to bring in more customers? Anthony or if maybe
Yes, right. Yes, I want to maybe quickly. So for us, I think I would not say crypto, but generally around the tokenization of assets. So yes, that's an opportunity that is in the market. The NSE, I think if you've been following closely in the social platforms or in our media platforms, you've seen that the NSE is already together with the CMA working on this. We know there's a virtual assets bill that is waiting, I think, soon to be law. So the NSE is also positioning itself on how we can create opportunities around tokenization of assets. So you can have issuances that are purely based on, tokenized assets. So yes, that's an opportunity right there to watch. Thanks.
Okay, Ian, I hope that was good. Ale, I think this question was answered earlier. But yeah, you'll be able to find that. Or if it wasn't, guys, you can always Shem, you have something.
Yeah. Let me just. I've also seen it again, so I think I'll re-answer it again. So basically, NSE is a public limited company. So one thing to note around it is that we are also self-listed. So basically, the investors, both locally and globally, have really invested in NSE. If you look at probably our shareholding, an institution that is, say, controlled by the government, at least should hold 50% and more of the share. The government should be able to hold 50% shares and more. As it is currently, I think the government percentage shareholding is probably less than 3%, but it's very insignificant. So there is no government control around it. I think what is clear is that NSE is a strategic asset for the nation. Remember the stock market. Currently, we have Nairobi Securities Exchange running the stock market, and just like Anthony mentioned, what the stock market means for the country. So if today the market could go down, it means really a lot from an economic perspective. So yes, we are a strategic institution for the nation, but from government control perspective, NSE is not really controlled by the government because of the few shares that are held by the government there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anthony. So guys, I think we have we've come to the end of our conversation here today. It's been very, very insightful for me. And I think for all of us that were here today. So yeah, basically, let's keep the conversation going and tell us what you think maybe we should do better going forward. Maybe give us insight on what you think we should expand on more next time. We're going to be having this regularly. And yeah, until then, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, it was nice to have you.
Thank you for your time. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.